All right, PTA episode 7.
Let's go, baby.
I'm
Let's
Cole.
roll.
We got Luke over here. And
Let's
we got
roll.
the Buzzman over here. But, gentlemen, today we're going to be going over free agency part 2. We went over the top 10 free agents last week. We're going to go through 11 through 20 this week. We are going to finish out our mock draft that we did 1 through 12 last week. We're going to do, or not finish now, we're going to do 13 through the 22nd picks. We're going to talk about some trades, Pickens, Tyreek, Burrow, you know them. We got a tiers list. Jeremiah Love as a prospect compared to recent top NFL running back prospects. And then we also got the floor and ceiling for ESPN's 11 through 20th rated players. But let's hop on into the free agency first things first. So 11th man on ESPN is John Franklin Myers. They got him projected at 3 for $45 million, his projected market value according to Google. So this guy, really good interior pass rush for Denver. He had 14.5 sacks the last 2 years. He's ranked in the 96th percentile among interior defenders in both PFF pass rush rate and pass rush win rate. Now, I don't think Denver will probably be signing this guy. They've signed Benito recently, Allen, Surtain. They just got a lot of guys that can kind of, I think, take that step, and they're already loaded on defense, so he kind of just feels like a guy that's going to go out and chase the bag. And I don't think Denver's going to want to shell him out the money. And this guy, he's a good player. He's not elite, though, but he's a really solid player. And my projection, who I want to see him go, I have him going to San Fran. They had the worst interior D-line unit in the entire NFL last year. They have $43 million in cap. And we've seen them dominate in recent years by having a badass defensive line. They'll get Bosa back. They'll get their rookies back who are hurt. You add in JFM to this D-line, then all of a sudden it could be a D-line that can get after the quarterback, especially when you're in division with the Seahawks and the Rams. You got to be able to rush the quarterback. It doesn't matter how many points you put up. If you can't get after the quarterback, you're not getting anything in this division and this conference. In San Fran this year, their biggest free agent is Juwan Jennings. So I know they have some bigger names on deals. Maybe guys that got to pay in the future, but I think it makes sense. It's a win-now move. This guy's 29 years old. I think he would fit in perfect on the defense that needs some beef in that middle, and I think this guy would be perfect for him.
Yeah. I could see another team like the Cardinals overpaying, getting him. He's been good. He got a big contract to go to Denver in the first place. He's been pretty good his whole career. He kind of has been an underrated player for like media sake, but he's a baller. But yeah, I could see a team like the Cardinals going for him, maybe the Texans, another established team with a good D-line. Go ahead and bolster it, make it better. But the Cardinals are the favorite, I think, at least for what I'm looking at. So I think they're a good bet.
Cole, I love the other two teams in the Niners division, Seattle and the Rams. Both of them, the window's wide open. Both have a ton of cap space.
He's 29.
If you're the Rams, it's a win-now player. Like Luke just said, he's 29 years old. This isn't a long-term play. Maximize Stafford's window right now. You have $45 million in cap space. Go spend it on another interior player to play alongside Poona Ford and Jared Verse and beef up that D-line. I think that'd be an awesome move for them. And the same thing with Seattle. We saw what Seattle did with DeMarcus Lawrence this past year. He's just kind of DeMarcus Lawrence 2 years in the future. Like, he's 29. They signed DeMarcus Lawrence at 31. He'd be a very similar player, and you add him into that pass rushing rotation that Seattle already has, and the rich get richer there. I love that spot. And for the Niners, for all three of the contenders in the NFC West.
This guy could go to so many. This guy could go to so many different teams. And like when I was making this new round of them, I'm kind of more trying to stay away from like the Vegas and the Tennessee teams because you could fit them with anyone. So San Fran, I was like that. I think it'd be perfect. But all right, you got Alante?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, Alante Taylor. This guy that just sounds like the name of a cornerback, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, I mean, it just sounds like he'd be good at football. Alante, he's projected to get 3 for about 33 in total. I mean, that's what about the going rate is for a good slot cornerback, which is what he is. I'm pretty sure last year Jordan Lewis got around like 9-10 a year, and he's a really good slot corner. So this would be about the same. I could see him just going right back to the Saints. They have not a ton of cap room, but they don't have a lot of guys that they're paying that are currently on their roster. It's all just dead cap that they've been dealing with ever since the Breeze years. But I could also see him going to a team like the Los Angeles Rams that need a slot corner. That's a more competitive team. They have the cap space. Why not go get a guy of this caliber with that money?
Yeah, for him, I would love to see him go to the Rams as well. Like you said, they rank 19th in pass D, And that's probably their one glaring need on the whole team right now is in the secondary. And this guy, like, I went on Saints Reddit for this guy. He's an absolute baller. He's a playmaker, but he can get burned at times, and he can be bad at tackling. And he's probably best in the slot. When they would put him on the outside, he did get burned, and he got exposed in some big plays for the Saints. But I think for the Rams, maybe you have to slightly overpay for him. You bet on the talent. He's a former first-round pick. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a clear need. So I would like to see him go to the Rams as well.
I'll throw out Baltimore, too. Baltimore's got the cap space to do it, and I think he'd fit perfectly with Jesse Minter. That was their big weakness, was their secondary outside of Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. Being able to put him at the slot corner there and let Minter move him around, use him where they need, I think it'd be an awesome spot for him to join an already really talented defense that's been inconsistent the last 2 years. They start out horrible, and then they get really good by the end of the season. I think that'd be a great spot for him, and they've got the money to do it. So I'd love to see him in Baltimore. Well, Baltimore makes a second push for the Super Bowl now with Lamar looking at 30 years old.
All right, Quay Walker.
Quay's projected to make D-end from the Packers, projected to make. I thought he's an edge.
No.
Oh, linebacker from the Packers, projected 3 years, $30 million. He declined his fifth-year option, so very unlikely that he is going back to Green Bay. The guy's been a tackling machine for the last 4 years since he's been in the league. He's had over 100 sacks each year. I'd really like to see him go to a team. I like the Patriots. I think they got a lot from Robert Spillane this past year. I'd like to see him go in there and beef up the interior of their front seven and be the commanding presence that they need. And I think they've got the money with Drake May on a rookie contract. They've got $41 million. I think it'd be a really nice spot for him.
Yeah, I like him in Pittsburgh. I don't know why. Quay Walker just feels like a Pittsburgh Steeler to me. And their inside linebacker group was arguably the worst in all of football last year. Like you said, this guy's a tackling machine. And I don't know. I just picked Pittsburgh because they got some cap. They could go get a guy like this. And they kind of just feels like a Pittsburgh move to go get a guy like this where they have other needs elsewhere. But I don't know why. Quay Walker just seems like a Steeler to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I could also, if he's going to try to go to a competitive team, I could see him going to like the Bears, some team in division where it's just, a rivalry signing kind of thing, kind of like Patrick Queen with the Pittsburgh a couple years back. But I could also see him going to a shit team that needs to replace their free agent linebacker who used to be an All-Pro, the New York Jets. They got Quincy Williams, who's a free agent this year. He's a linebacker, Big Quinn's brother. But I could see them trying to bring in Quay, giving him an overpay, try to revamp this whole linebacker group. Aaron Glenn get something going on the defensive side. But that's only if they really overpay for him because I see this guy. He was a national championship competitor at Georgia. He's been on competitive Packer teams. I think he's going to go want to play in a competitive culture.
I like it. Next man up, we got Reek Woolen. Reek's projected around really anywhere from like 18 to 30 million a year. We know who this guy is.
That's a big range.
Yeah, well, he's one of those kind of like the talent's there for Reek Woolen. He's 6'4". He's a premier corner. He's super talented. We'd see him make flash plays. He's an insane athlete. The only thing is he kind of gives off DK Metcalf vibes a little bit. We've seen him with Seattle make super awesome plays, and we've also seen him make just absolute boneheaded decisions. He can like I said, he can give up big plays, but he can also be a lockdown guy if he dials it in completely, which is kind of yet to be determined. I think Seattle's going to let him walk, and if I'm Seattle, Josh Jobe showed he could be a quality number 2 corner for you, and I would probably let him walk. He almost cost him the Rams game as well. But for my fit for Reek Woolen, I would love to see him go to the Commanders. They have one of the worst defensive units in the league and one of the worst cornerback rooms in all of the NFL. And Reek is a gamble, but Washington has the cap space to be able to afford a gamble like this. And this guy is he's a Dan Quinn guy. When Dan Quinn had guys like this in the Legion of Boom, these long, rangy, super athletic defenders, they were dynamite for him. And if I'm Washington, I'm going to capitalize on Jaden Daniels' rookie deal and get this guy out there. I think if there's anyone that could unlock his full ceiling and get him to consistently play at an all-pro level, it's Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders. I love the Commanders fit for him. They got the money. They got the coach that could fit for him. I think it's a match made in heaven, honestly.
I could see the Chargers going for him, too. They have some needs in the secondary as well. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, I completely agree on the Commanders. That was mine for all the reasons you just said. I think that's the clear fit with Dan Quinn, how he likes to have his secondary players to play. Since you went with the best fit, I'm going to go with a crappy fit and a team that he's probably going to go to. I think this has Raiders or Titans written all over it.
Yeah, he screams overpay.
Super talented guy, going to get a lot of money, has some character concerns. That fits the classic bill of who's got the most cap space, crappy team. We're going to go throw a bunch of money at him and hope it works. It probably doesn't. I do kind of like him in Tennessee, though. You've got Bob Saleh there, obviously defensive-minded head coach. He's a presence in the room. I think he can get Rick Woolen to straighten out. So I'd like him. I'd like him too. Yeah, but I'd like him in Tennessee. I think it'd be a good spot with Bob Saleh building that defense.
Yeah, or even a team like the Dolphins, just something random as crap. I could see him going anywhere. Everyone needs corners. Next guy, Mike Evans. What are we calling this guy? Old man Mike.
Old man Mike.
This is a fun one.
Is he reaching father time? Well, Mike's projected to get a 1-year deal with a team around $15 million. I could see him signing for 2 years somewhere. I think he's going to sign somewhere that is going to be competitive football, though. He has always been a competitor. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. Mike's awesome. It's just how much does he have left in the tank and how healthy can he stay, which, kind of go hand in hand. But, he's a deep ball threat. He can kind of do everything on the field you need besides anything in the slot because he's so damn big. I don't really know where I see him go. I could see him just going right back to Tampa, retiring there. It's kind of boring, but it seems like the logical thing for him. It's a good state to live in. But I could also see him going somewhere like Baltimore. They love to bet on old wide receivers, especially in the Lamar Jackson era. Even back in the day, but Steve Smith and everything. But
yeah,
what do y'all think?
I like Buffalo for him a lot. Obviously, they have a huge glaring need at receiver, and he could kind of give you like a low risk, high upside move that you're not really prioritizing. A lot of future cap as well if you can get him on a 1 or 2 year deal. Josh Allen's obviously ready to win right now, and we saw in the playoffs and the regular season that they need some help badly on the outside. I think New England would also be another one.
I agree.
I know you already got an old man Diggs on there, but with Mike, you're not going to have to worry about character concerns or if he's in the game or not. And he's another guy that I think would fully open up that offense and help their deep ball guys, Kyle Williams and these guys, establish more. And I think he would be really good just for the whole group as a whole, kind of a mentor, leadership type of player too.
I completely agree on the Bills. That was my spot. Since you went there, I'm going to go with the Packers. They're 1.5 under the cap right now, but if they can move some money around, they'll be able to make it work. I think he'd be the number one receiver that they've been looking for almost a decade at this, or since Devontae Adams left a half decade ago. While he's not the guy he used to be, he's not going to get the targets. He's a leader in the room. This is one of the youngest teams in the league, and he can be a guy to help Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jalen Reed, Matthew Golden. He can help develop these guys, be a mentor to them, and also be the established number one on a team that's been craving it for 5 years. I would love him on the Packers and being that veteran leader in the locker room. I think it'd be a perfect fit. All right, Jalen Watson, corner from Kansas City, projected to get 3 years, $45 million this upcoming season. I actually like him going to the Colts. The Colts have a lot of cornerback problems. I know they got Sauce Gardner. The secondary's been still up and down. Sauce Gardner wasn't very good for them, and then he got hurt. That's kind of the weak spot of their team. The offense is pretty solid all the way around unless you want to go upgrade at quarterback. The front seven's locked in. This team's all in right now to win because of the Sauce Gardner trade. Go make the other move and go get a good number 2 corner to pair with Sauce. And go for it this next season. You're already in. While being all in on Danny Dimes, probably not a great idea. You're already 2 feet in, so you might as well jump in. I like this pick. You solidify the secondary, and you really solidify the entire defense, and you cure the weak spot of your team from last year.
Yeah, I like that. I had him. He's definitely not going back to KC. They're last in cap, and I think Watson's going to be a guy. He's a really good player. He was 16th on PFF, and he was also 6th against the run for all DBs. I feel like he's going to get paid a lot of money. I'd rather have him over Alontae Taylor personally. Tennessee, Vegas, the New York Jets. I really think this is a guy that's probably going to end up getting a huge bag because he hasn't got paid a bag yet and go to one of these bottom feeder teams. But
no, I agree with y'all. I don't really have much to say. I'd say probably the Colts are the favorites.
Okay. All right, 17th man up, we got Malik Willis. He's projected, again, the range is wide, but 2 for 40 is probably the average projection for this guy. His first few years in the league, he was absolutely terrible with Tennessee, but the last few years with Green Bay, we've seen some real flashes, and mainly this last season, he actually played some really good football. He still is only 26 years old, and so while he does give off a little bit of Justin Fields vibes, I think there is a little bit more to be seen and potential to be had with Malik Willis. And he's never had a real full shot like a Justin Fields had, but this guy doesn't turn the ball over, and his passing has gotten better every single season. Now, if for my fit form, I'd love to see him go to Miami. They hired Bobby Sloak as their OC, who runs the exact same offense that LaFleur does in Green Bay, so the offensive transition would be seamless. They're pretty much running the same exact show there in Miami. And for Miami, I know you got Tua right now, but somehow get rid of Tua. You could sign Willis to a 1 or 2 year deal, hopefully, and just see what you got. Worst case, if he pans out, awesome. He's still completely unproven. It'd be fun with A-Chain and Waddle and these speedsters on Miami. If he pans out, great. You might have your quarterback for the future. If he doesn't pan out and he's ass, which there's a good chance that he is, you're probably picking top 3 next year, and then you could front load this contract and then get off of him. I just think with the offensive fit, the scheme they have in Miami, I think this guy is perfect there, and he'd fit with their weapons in the system entirely.
Yeah, that makes sense going to Miami with the whole offensive scheme from the Packers coach and everything. I could see him just pulling a Justin Fields and going to the Jets, get that 2 for 40 just like him. Because I don't really see a world where he becomes a franchise quarterback for anyone. But I feel like he's clearly going to the Dolphins. It makes sense with their coaching moving over there, and they're immediately trying to get off Tua. It just kind of seems like that's how the stars are aligning.
I will say, I think there still is some potential for Malik.
I agree.
He's only 26, and a lot of these guys, like the Fields and these other guys that have flamed out early, there was already so much film on them, and they've had a lot of play time. This guy hasn't played.
I was about to say Malik Willis never really got a shot.
No, he never
started
got a shot.
4 games.
And in Tennessee,
and
and we knew coming out of college, this guy was super raw, and he's gotten better every single season. He's gotten in a good offense. So I
like him in Pittsburgh. I like him with Mike McCarthy there. I mean, it's a defense-first team, and I like what you said about the Dolphins, how if he's great, good, you might have your quarterback for the future, and if he stinks, then you're going to suck. If Green Bay goes back with Rodgers, or if the Steelers go back with Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, we know exactly what they're going to be. At least with Willis, you go for the boom, you go for the upside. If he's great, great. Maybe you've got a top 15 quarterback for the next 15 years. If he's not, he's probably going to be horrible, because they don't have a lot of weapons. And that's the other thing. You don't have a lot of weapons on this team. You need more of a playmaker at quarterback. And if he sucks, the Steelers finally bottom out, which is what they've been needing to do for a long time. But Mike's good with quarterbacks. He's been good with them his whole career. They need a playmaker in the position. And if they get competent quarterback play, they can win a lot of games. I like him there.
I could see him going like the Colts, too, if they miss out on Danny Dimes. Vikings. But, those are just all the teams that are going to be competitive in the quarterback.
Yeah, I think
market.
he's a lot better of just a free agent bid than Fields was last year. And a lot of people
I agree.
are putting him in Fields, but Fields, we had seen the tape out on Fields for multiple seasons. We knew it was bad. This guy, he's still very untapped, I think.
Yeah. All right, next one, number 18, Travis Etienne Jr., running back. He had a comeback year this year with the Jags, with Liam Cohen and company, helping run the offense. He helped T-Law a ton this year. He was great out of the backfield, great for fantasy owners, especially because you were able to get him so damn late in the draft. But, fortunately for everyone, he's not going to be cheap anymore. And so I got him going to a team with cap space. I could see him going to the Saints. Alvin Kamara is not what he was, and it is not what he used to be. Right, and so they kind of they have a need in the backfield, get someone for Shuck back there. I could also see him going to the Titans, get Cam Ward some help in the backfield. It shows now running backs are so much more important than they used to be in the passing game, blocking everything than they were 10 years ago. What was the era where running backs were going in the they just weren't even going in the first round anymore, and they've kind of gained their value back. So I think it's really beneficial to the development of a QB. But, he could go back to Jacksonville, too. But I think my favorite for him is the Saints, or maybe hang on, I was looking. Go to the top.
The Raiders?
No. I could see him going to the Commanders too, just because they have a lot of cap space and they do not have a lead running back right now.
Yeah, I like all those.
I really like him in Washington. I think that'd be really fun. Him and Jaden Daniels. That offensive line's really good. He's fantastic out of the backfield. I think he'd be a really fun backfield mate with Jaden Daniels. Those read options, all the stuff that they can do with him offensively, getting him out of the backfield, angle routes, wheel routes, getting Jaden out on the move looking for him. I think that could be really fun. Especially, and then you got Debo back there too. That's like almost like you could run the change of pace with Debo.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got the rotation of other backs. I think that'd be a really good fit.
Yeah, I agree. Or if like Seahawks don't get Kenneth Walker back, I could see him going to Seattle.
Yeah. And it'd be really good there too. All right. Devin Lloyd. For me, Devin Lloyd needs to be a guy that goes to a team with a horrible defense. A team that just needs someone to come in, be a steady force in the center of their defense and their linebacker spot, make tackles, make good plays, and be a leader for a defense that's not very good. To me, it screams the Bengals, and if the Cowboys can clear space, which we know they do every offseason, Jerry works some cat magic and moves contracts around, I would love to see him in Cincinnati or Dallas. These teams need a leader on defense. They need someone who can just tackle a ball carrier. Their linebackers can't really do anything in the running game. They're not good in the passing game. Devin Lloyd is a fantastic coverage linebacker, and he's a steady force for an uneven, unprepared, bad defenses that I think could pay a pretty penny for him this offseason. Again, love to see him in Dallas, control the middle of the field, and you get rid of the Kenneth Murray experiment you've been dealing with, and the same thing with Cincinnati. Bring a level-headed guy to level the playing field for their defense and be a consistent force for them. I like him with both those teams with great offenses.
Yeah, Dallas would be awesome. Him and Overshown would be dirty.
Yeah. He'd be really good there. I think the Jags are going to really try to get this guy back, though. He was really important for them this year. Yeah, he was insane. I mean, he was the leader for Defensive Player of the Year to start the year. So,
all right, last man up on this list, we got Isaiah Likely. He's projected around $10 million a year. And I know I already went to Washington once, but I want to see him go to Washington again. Zach Ertz is out for the year. He's probably done for his career. They desperately need help at the tight end position. Jaden Daniels loves to pepper his tight ends early and often. And Washington quietly, I think, needs some help at the skill position players. I know they have Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, but both these guys are a little bit older, and they're both very injury prone. Isaiah Likely as well. You know, I could see a world where he becomes the most valuable pass catcher on this team. He's kind of been a 1A, 1B with Mark Andrews the last few years, but we've seen this guy, when he gets the opportunity and the target share, he's been borderline elite. He's super fast. He's got great hands. He's a physical monster at tight end. He could be a mismatch, matchup nightmare. I really think there's a chance if Washington gets him with the Terry injuries, Debo's age, he could quietly be their number one weapon on offense. And I think with the cap space again with Washington, you got a bunch of it to play with. You got to get Jaden Daniels all the help he can possibly get. The running game with Jaden Daniels is going to be good automatically. But I think this team quietly has real concerns at the skill position weapons. And I think this is a guy that actually could outperform a contract of being, like a second, third tier free agent where these guys normally get overpaid. I love to see him with Jaden in Washington.
Yeah, I could see him in also Carolina on the Panthers. They have such a need at tight end, and they just need to surround Bryce with talent, guys that can catch the ball, get upfield. I think he'd be a great fit there. Just fill that big old hole at tight end one.
To me, this Isaiah Likely seems like one of the top candidates for the biggest overpay this year and the biggest bust that we're talking about at this time next season. Like, that was probably a bad contract.
Oh, I could see that big time.
He's been in the league 5 years. Yes, he's talented, but he's been so inconsistent. And I know he's been behind Mark Andrews. He should have been able to beat out Mark Andrews at least this season as tight end one. Mark Andrews is not a good tight end anymore. He's got injury concerns. That said, he does have a lot of talent. And the Harbaugh brothers love to pass their players off to each other and their coaches. I'd love to see him in L.A. with the Chargers. I mean, Gadsden showed flashes this year, but Jim Harbaugh loves his tight ends. He loves double tight end sets. I think this could be a really good fit with Herbert. They got $82 million in cap space, so money's not a problem. And you give Herbert a threat over the middle of the field and someone else to help in the running game, which is really what the Chargers want to do. I would really like that fit for L.A. And then the other one is the Titans. I think this could be a classic Titans overpay. My favorite one would probably be the Chargers, though.
One thing with the Chargers, he's not a great run blocking tight end. And so
I mean, he can be.
neither is Gadsden. So I feel like if you have those two guys out there, like it's probably going to be a little tougher to run the ball. They're more receiving tight ends, but yeah, I mean,
that's true.
He kind of feels like Malik, where he could be a complete overpay. But yeah, he's got a ton of talent. So we'll see. All right, well, that'll wrap up the free agency part 2, 11 to 20 rankings there. We want to hop into these mock drafts now.
Let's do it.
All right, we got part 2 of our NFL mock. We're doing picks 13 to 22. If you want to see our picks 1 through 12, we posted it last week. I'll link it on here. But with the 13th pick, we got the LA Rams, and based on how the board fell out, they're in a tough spot. Obviously, you would love to get Mansour Delane or Jamad McCoy. They need help in the secondary. And this team doesn't have a lot of needs. I was thinking about going with Spencer Fanu out of Utah for him, but quietly, Warren McClendon and Alaric Jackson were both really solid tackles last year. They're 24 and 27. If there was elite, guard or center prospect here, I'd consider it, but there's not. And so I think for the Rams, I'm just going simple, and I'm going best player available, which is Peter Woods. This is a guy, I know you already have a good D-line, but if you compare him with Verse and Byron Young and Fisk and these guys, I mean, he has crazy upside. He is a badass in the run game. He still is a little bit unproven as a defensive tackle, pass rushing specialist. He uses his hands a lot. His bag isn't too deep yet, but all the talent's there. If this guy hits, he could be an all-pro and a guy that could get you 8 or 9, 10 sacks a season while also being a badass run defender. And again, when you're facing a team like Seattle and the Niners in your division that want to run the ball and win at the line of scrimmage, this guy can only help. And again, I would like to go other ways here if I'm the Rams, but we're not doing any trades in this hypothetical, so we're simply going best player available, and we're going to bet on the talent of Peter Woods to just bolster that defensive line unit and make it a lot scarier.
Mm-hmm. I agree. For pick 14, I got the Ravens. So I could see them going defense because, they have Jesse Minter as their new head coach, and feels like the new coach always likes to get their regime down and everything for their side of the ball. But, I mean, their defense is already kind of stacked on all 3 levels. I mean, they have maybe some little holes everywhere, but they have some top-notch players on all 3 levels. And for that reason, I think they need to go back on the offense. I think they need to get Jordan Tyson's here on the board. He's a top guy on the board. He's a stud. They have been needing a guy at wide receiver. They've Zay Flowers is good, but he's not a true number 1. And then they kind of whiffed on Rashad Bateman back in the day. I think they could take another swing here at wide receiver, try to get that true number 1 for Lamar Jackson before he gets too old. I'm going Jordan Tyson right here. And Jordan Tyson's a stud. His only problem is he's had some injuries and he had some drop concerns. But, I mean, those are 2 things that I think this guy can get over. It's one major injury he had. And then, I mean, players like CeeDee Lamb had drops in college and stuff. That's something you can work out when the player's that special.
Bucks at 15. If this is how the board fell, I am thrilled. I'm going Spencer Fanu here. I think they're sprinting to put that ticket in. You've got Wirfs at left tackle. Now you're going to get arguably the best tackle in the entire class. You're putting him at right tackle. This guy played over 800 snaps last year. He gave up 5 total hurries the entire season, 0 sacks. He's a stud run blocker, which is what you need. You need blocking of all sorts at Tampa. That offensive line was horrible last year. Now you get Wirfs and you pair in another really good prospect at your other tackle spots. You're looking at least the next 5-10 years of fantastic tackle play if Fanu plays out and works out. And he's great in both pass protection and run protection. I love that pick if I'm the Bucks. I'm sprinting to put that ticket in.
Oh, that pick would be perfect for him.
They do have Luke Godicke at right tackle, though, who's pretty good.
Yeah, so what?
All right,
They've just signed him to a 4-year extension, too.
And they have Wirfs.
But, I mean, they could use help on the O-line.
Even though he's a strict tackle. All right, if I'm the Jets, I'm going to go with Keldrick Falk here. I think in our mock they got Ruben Bain at 2. Keldrick Falk, going in to this last college season, he was a guy that looked at it was maybe being a top 5 pick. His talent's insane. He did not have much production at Auburn, though. He's very raw. He's 21 years old. He's still super young. But if I'm the New York Jets, I'm pretty excited about pairing him with Ruben Bain and building the defense. We have Aaron Glenn in there as a defensive guy. Let's give him some more help. And this team's not trying to win right now anyways. So if it takes a year or two for this guy to really blossom and develop, I'm not mad about it. I'm going to bet on the talent and really take the best player available again. The way the board fell out for the Jets, there's not really, any receivers or obviously quarterbacks they could target here. So I'm simply just going the most talented guy at a premium position and banking on him being good in a year or two and letting him develop under this defense where he really has time because we're not trying to win right now.
All right, with the 17th pick, Detroit Lions. I'm going to butcher the crap out of this name. Oliavavega Ioane. He's the guard from Penn State. He's the consensus number 1 interior offensive lineman in the draft. I don't got much to say about him. He's just a solid guard prospect, first-round talent. The Lions need to get back to what they know, what had them winning games, and that was a ground and pound game. That was their O-line being dominant. And after Frank Ragnow retired, they clearly took a huge step back last year. You have to account, too, for Ben Johnson being gone. Ben Johnson was obviously a huge part of it. But, it doesn't outweigh the fact that they're missing an all-pro at center. And, you got to have the talent out there if you want to compete. So I'm just taking the top interior O-lineman on the board for the Lions, hoping they can bolster that front again.
For the Vikings, I'm very tempted to go Ty Simpson here. I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to ditch the J.J. McCarthy project just yet. But if he's still sitting there at 18, I think that's a real possibility for them to go with Ty Simpson. Instead, they don't really have a lot of holes. Their roster's pretty solid through and through. They have a little bit of a weakness at DB, so I'm going to go Avion Terrell from Clemson. He's one of the best corners in the entire draft. He was fantastic in the slot and outside on the outside corner spot. He's been a ball hawk his 3 years in college so far. I think for a team that doesn't have a lot of holes, you beef up the one weakness you really have, and you just pray to God that J.J. McCarthy works out. Or if you wanted to get a little spicy, you would take Ty Simpson here. But I think for this mock draft, we're going to take Avion Taylor.
All right, for the Panthers at 19, we got our wide receiver one last year. The defense quietly was pretty good. I think this would be a pretty obvious pick if he's here, but I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq. This guy's a great athlete. He's a little bit smaller, but he's got great yak. He could be a mismatch for linebackers because he's too fast, and for DBs he can be mismatched because he's too big. He can also block well. The Panthers want to establish the run. He's a presence in the block game as well. And really, this pick is about Bryce Young. He got to the playoffs last year. He won the division. He still needs a lot of help, though, at his skill position spots, and this guy's clearly the tight end one. Now, this guy is a little bit raw, and he had limited production in college. He only had 892 yards in 3 seasons, and if you can blame it on the scheme for Oregon or, the limited target share, you can do what you want with that. But he's a super talented tight end, and this pick's simple. If we believe Bryce Young's our guy, we're going to get him some more help, and we're going to go snag the best tight end in the draft.
I like it. All right, pick 20, the Dallas Cowboys from the Green Bay Packers. I have him just going the pretty consensus top guy on the board. If you don't have Banks, it's going to be Cassius Howell. So I have him taking Howell. This guy had 12 sacks last year at A&M. He had 10 his freshman year at A&M. This guy's been a stud ever since, pretty much every single year. He has pretty much all the tools you look for in a defensive end. Cowboys need defensive ends pretty bad. They need linebackers too, but this guy's just the top on the board. There's not really much linebackers that are at the top. You got like Anthony Hill or like CJ. What's his name? From
Allen.
Yeah, CJ Allen. But they're just not this high on the board. You got to take someone around this spot, and that's going to be Cassius Howell.
I think that's a fantastic pick.
I think he'd
the
be
fact
really
if he
good.
falls that low, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
be fantastic. All right, Steelers. They need a weapon. You've got DK Metcalf. You've got basically nothing else at your skill position players. You've got Jalen Warren. You've got Kenneth Gainwell. You've got a couple nice tight ends. You really need a wide receiver here. While Denzel Boston is the number one receiver prospect left on the board, for me, if I'm Pittsburgh, I go down and I'm going to take KC Conception from A&M. I think he's a perfect complement to DK Metcalf. If you take Denzel Boston, he's kind of a replica of DK Metcalf. He's 6'4", 210, down the field receiver. You need someone to break apart the middle of your defense, someone to hit short routes, intermediate routes, and let DK Metcalf do what he does best. I think KC Conception would be a perfect pick here, and it'd be a perfect complement to what the Steelers have going offensively for whoever their quarterback is coming in for next season.
I like it. All right, with the last pick here of this mock, we got the LA Chargers at pick 22. Now, obviously, this team, their offensive line was terrible, but they're going to get their tackles back. They're going to be fine there. They could also use some interior offensive line help, but there's really no prospects interior-wise that are really screaming my name right now. The draft again. We got some tackles, but again, they don't need a tackle. And with Khalil Mack potentially gone, and they got Thule as a free agent, I'm going to go with who I believe is the best pure pass rusher left in this on the board, and that's Akeem Mesidor out of Miami. This guy had 12.5 sacks. He's a little bit older, but this guy was arguably their most productive defender on a defense that had Ruben Bain on the other side. So this guy, he's a win-now player. They're probably going to need the help if they lose some of these guys. And, again, you're in the AFC. You're going to be trying to chase down Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, all these guys. You need guys that are going to after the quarterback. And this guy, if he hits, he's going to be a guy that can put up double-digit sacks for you. And really a win-now player and a Harbaugh guy that, he's almost 25. But the production's there. The talent's there. He's got a really deep bag. He can really do everything rushing the passer. So I think right here he falls a little bit because of his age. And his potential upside, but he's kind of a safer pick who I like for LA here at 22. But next topic of discussion, we got some trades brewed up here. First name on the block, we got some George Pickens trade destinations. So I'm simply just going to tell y'all a trade, and let me hear your thoughts and your grades on them, all right?
Let's go, baby.
And for all these, we're going to assume pick. Let's just assume, second, first-round pick. I'm not going to get too specific with it, but that's his projected market value. But Pickens to Buffalo, how do we feel?
What's the pick they're trading?
Let's just say it's Buffalo's first-round pick. They got a later first-round pick.
I love it for Buffalo. I mean, you're not going to get a player as talented as George Pickens, especially at the spot. Your most desperate spot of need, you're not going to get anything close to George Pickens with your first-round pick. You're taking on probably a monster contract. You're taking on some character concerns with a new rookie head coach, so that's a little troubling. But you've got to do something if you're Buffalo and do something at the receiver spot. I think if you can trade your pick and go get George Pickens, you sign him to a monster contract, and you hope it works out. I'm doing that all day if I'm Buffalo. I don't really think you have a choice, and you're definitely not going to find a player of that caliber anywhere else.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best values you'd get from Dallas's point of view as well. It seems like teams don't really want to give up more than like a second-round pick and then a little bit more. So, I mean, I think that'd be a good value for them. But then, yeah, the Bills, that's exactly what they need to go do this offseason is get Josh Allen a number one again, like when he had Stephon Diggs. I mean, it seemed like they were able to make it even a little bit further, even when the AFC was more stacked, But he needs help on that offense really bad. The wide receiver room is the weakest part, so they need to attack that somehow.
All right, next trade up, we got Pickens going to Tennessee for, let's say, their second-round pick this year. So, second pick in the second round?
I mean, again,
Cam Ward to one.
Cam Ward needs a number one wide receiver. Every quarterback that wants to develop in today's NFL needs a number one receiver. I honestly, you could probably look back in the all of time of NFL. It probably is pretty rare when the QB doesn't have a wide receiver one and he develops into, a Hall of Famer, an all-timer. But yeah, I mean, the Titans need everything. I don't know if giving up a second-round pick would be smart for them because they have so many holes. But, I mean, that's the price that you got to pay to get George. But, I think it'd be better for George to go somewhere more competitive like the Bills so he's not going to be a head case or anything. But, I mean, he would be huge. He'd be their best player.
Were the Titans picking fourth? They're the fourth pick?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't like this for Tennessee.
I think they should go sign someone instead.
This just seems like a dumpster fire waiting to happen if he goes.
Yeah.
This just seems by week 9, he's pulling A.J. Brown stuff on steroids, except he doesn't have the pedigree of A.J. Brown, and Bob Sala and the Tennessee Titans organization doesn't have the pedigree of the Philadelphia Eagles. And this leads to a breakup 1 year from now. This is a lot of attitude for a bad team with a bad roster and a complete unknown at quarterback. I think you're looking at like a Steelers 2.0 situation or worse, where it just ends up breaking up poorly and probably really quickly. I mean, yes, they need a receiver. You're picking at 4. You're probably going to have the top pick of a receiver if you want it in the draft. There's also some decent players you can go out and get in free agency or just make small trades around the margins at the receiver spot. I don't know if I would want to invest this kind of capital in such a volatile player when my team's this bad as it is.
Yeah, they need to go just get someone in free agency like Alec Pierce or like
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wan'Dale, because they can't really be giving up anything right now. Or like you said, like even maybe go get an AJ Brown or something. I mean, only if AJ's willing to go there, but they just can't be giving up a 2nd-round pick right now. They don't have crap.
Yeah, I think for Tennessee, I think you're better off getting a bargain bin free agent receiver and then swinging the fence on the 4 pick with maybe a Lemon or a Tate or
I mean, also like I said, what are there some other old wide receivers that are probably going to be on the market?
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings, even Diggs might.
Yeah, or just a
Diggs
level-headed guy.
but
Like you
Diggs
have
might
a
not
new
be
coach in
playing.
there now. You have Cam
Yeah.
Ward. Like it could scream disaster. All right, next one. Pickens going to the Patriots for the 31st pick.
I think that would be a perfect spot for him. Because I mean, is Diggs going to play next year?
It's not looking like it.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
but it's obviously up in the air.
He'd be the perfect replacement and upgrade right there. He's literally just a younger version of Stephon Diggs almost. A little bit more athletic, a little lankier and stuff. But, I mean, he'd be a perfect fit there. But, it's like we said, they might be better off. Because even though they did make it for the AFC it was nothing to, fuss about this year. Like, it wasn't very special. They still have a lot of holes in their team they need to fill, and they could go sign a wide receiver with their cap space and then, draft a O-lineman or something else in the first round that they need.
I think for this one, for Pickens, it would be dynamite. I think if he's going to work in a culture,
it'd be good
it's
for
Mike
him.
Vrabel's
Yeah.
culture, and if Diggs is out, which it looks like he might be, he's going to get peppered with targets if he's in that number 1 role with it, an up and rising borderline elite quarterback, and he's going to be on a winner too. And Pickens has stated he wants to play for a winner, and he wants to get his workload. And I think with this, it checks both those boxes, and it also for the Patriots side checks the box of, if he's a potential cancer to the locker room, well, you have Mike Vrabel there, maybe the best culture guy in the NFL on a team that just made the Super Bowl. Now it does.
I'm zagging. I do not like it for the Patriots. You've got a lot going for you right now. Like we were talking about, you got a lot of holes. It just seems like a really big investment to drop a 4-year, $140 million contract.
And you lose your first-round pick.
And you lose your first-round pick on a receiver spot that Drake May showed this year. We spread the ball around. Who's the OC? Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels does not pepper one single guy. He's always had a spread the ball around offense, and I understand the culture argument. The guy came from a Mike Tomlin culture in Pittsburgh, and he made that. He didn't let that work. So, I mean, I have all the respect for Vrabel in the world. I think he's a fantastic coach, but I don't think it's a shoo-in that Vrabel gets him to fall in line when Tomlin couldn't do it. It just seems like a really big investment for a team that has a lot going for it. And if they make the investment and it doesn't go well, it could derail a lot of stuff. This team's offense is too good, and you can just get a couple more pieces at receiver that just elevates it a little bit more, and you're going to be just fine. I think you keep building young talent on the team that's cheap.
I think this team, though, we saw it clearly in the playoffs. They need a guy that can go get it. The Diggs not, even if Diggs does come back, he's not capable of that. And I think they kind of have pieces here and there. They have some exciting receivers that are young and not really developed or proven yet. But I think Pickens would be the guy immediately. There's no questions.
I like AJ Brown.
Yeah, I like AJ Brown there
more.
too, because it's also you don't need to go spend a lot to get someone. It's not for Drake May's develop it or anything. He's already developed.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think they just need a guy that you can almost just throw it up to. Maybe like Alec Pierce, just get some kind of X factor. They could really use like a really good tight end or running back because May just doesn't.
I mean, Hunter Henry's a good tight end.
He's mid. I mean, he's never done anything special in his career.
He's a decent starter.
I just think like I just keep going back to the Josh McDaniels piece of it too. Like McDaniels never peppers a guy. He never has in his career.
Yeah.
He didn't pepper Gronk when he was there, except for in like playoffs, like serious playoff games. Like it was always a spread the ball around offense, and like it's just. We saw Pickens this year when he didn't get targets in some games. He started pouting. Like, and I know he says he wants to win. He didn't really seem to care a lot about that in Pittsburgh when they were winning.
They were peppering Diggs last season throughout times because they had to, because they had no one else.
Not really. I mean, there was a couple games. Trust me, I had Diggs on my team. He had a lot of games where he caught like three passes. But
George is a different level than Diggs at this point. I'm just saying, like, and I know you're saying McDaniels has never really peppered ones, but they never really. I mean, outside of Randy Moss, like who's like the true like alpha receiver one that they ever really had? It was
Gronk.
I mean, Gronk got peppered when he was in his like heyday.
I mean, not a ton.
They always had a collection of like B plus assets, but like I don't even think if Diggs is gone, they don't have a B plus receiver anywhere. And so I think they'll need someone to alleviate some of that stress and open up the offense. And I think George very well could. And obviously, like
I just think there's better options.
It could hurt the
price.
culture. I think if George is playing and he's got his head on straight, I think he could be fired there. But
he definitely could be. I just think it's a really big risk for a team that's got a lot going for him.
All right, next one, George Pickens to the Broncos.
I hate this.
I think him and Sean Payton
would kill each other.
Yeah.
Sean Payton does not fuck around with attitude. He doesn't fuck around with people not showing up to meetings, not being serious on the field. And Sean Payton wants to run the ball. I mean, Bo Nix, you've got Cortland Sutton there who's this fine receiver. I mean, how many targets is George Pickens going to get on that team? 6? 7? Like, at most? Like, I don't see him getting the target volume that he wants. And he starts bitching about it one time. Sean Payton's going to be in his grill, on his ass. And they've got a lot of young pieces at receiver, too. I mean, Troy Franklin showed some flashes this year. Marvin Mims.
Pat Bryant. They got a lot of guys.
Franklin.
And this team, again, they want to run the ball. Like, this is never going to be a high-flying passing attack. So I think it's a bad fit all around.
Yeah, I don't like that one as much either. I like New England a lot more than Denver. All right, last one, Vegas.
Okay, see, like, I love it for the on the field, but this just wouldn't work. He was in Vegas for 1 weekend this year, and him and CeeDee literally got in trouble because they were out too late. Like, he is just not mature enough to be in that city. It would not work. I mean, I would love for him to go and have Mendoza have a good number one player, good number one receiver, but I think they need to go a different route because that would just not work.
I actually like this one because, like, what's worst case scenario? Like, worst case scenario is Fernando Mendoza has a really good receiver he's throwing the ball to for a year and a half. It doesn't work, and they boot him. Like, you're not really risking much with it. I mean, you're risking the first pick in the second round, sure.
But man, like if he hits, like they have a lot of holes still. Like you could get an O lineman, with that
their
pick
biggest hole is arguably receiver. Like they
have no one.
They have no one at wide receiver, and like if he works, you've got Genty, Bowers, Pickens. That's an insane threesome at your skill positions. And if he doesn't work, like so what? You just trade him in a year and a half, or you cut him and you eat a dead cap hit like for year 2. Like I just don't really see the downside with it there. So I actually really like that. You're right though. He's probably gonna be going out all the time and getting into issues. And if he is, great. Fernando Mendoza can pepper him for a year and a half, and then you can ship him out of town again.
Yeah, well, and like we've seen Kubiak too. Like whoever his number one receiver, I haven't seen him with the tight end like Bowers, but he peppers the hell of it. JSN, I think, had more targets than maybe like top 5 in NFL history. So like Pickens would obviously get peppered, and for the development of Fernando Mendoza too. It's like, do you like look at the Titans last year? We don't have any weapons around our number one pick. It's going to hurt his development, his progression. If you can get Pickens in there for the second round pick, if you're Vegas, it's probably going to be a better receiver than you get with that second-round pick anyways, and you could maybe ramp up the progression of Mendoza, who's a ready-made quarterback and kind of, a quarterback that looks like he's ready to, throw up some numbers and get some stats right now, and all of a sudden you got a big 3 on offense that's fun and exciting on a Vegas team that actually has never had any excitement in Vegas.
It would be very clearly fun on the field. It would not work off the field.
No, probably not long term. It doesn't work, but I think it's worth a shot if you're Vegas.
And that's the thing, like with all these George Pickens trades, obviously the number one concern, the reason he's not for sure going for a first round pick is the character concerns. And I mean, yeah, Vegas would definitely be a worrisome city for this guy to go to.
They could use a guy like Mekhi Lemon. The Raiders.
Yes, they could.
Next one, I have Tyreek Hill landing spots, so not trades anymore because he's released. But Tyreek Hill landing spots. Are y'all ready?
Let's go, baby.
All right, Tyreek Hill landing spots. Oh, I read it right here. All right, the first one, back home. Home is where the heart is. Kansas City Chiefs.
A+, 100% love it. I think this is the number one spot for him. It makes total sense. They've got the need at receiver. And the other thing is he doesn't need – I mean, we'll see what happens with Kelsey. They're going to go get a running back this year, whether it's Jeremiah Love or they're going to go spend some money to get one in free agency. He doesn't need to come back and immediately be Tyreek Hill, but to have the threat on that team again, you open up Xavier Worthy, you open up Rashee Rice. Hopefully he's playing. He doesn't get in any more trouble. You still got Hollywood Brown there. Like, I think it's a perfect fit. You bring him back home. You bring him back with the best quarterback he's played for, best coach he's played for, the coach who really knows how to use him. I think it's a perfect way to finish out his career and help Kansas City get back to where they belong in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, my only thing with this fit is like how long is Patty out for? Like if he's out, like if it's a 2-year deal for Tyreek and he's out for next season, I mean, all of a sudden it's like half the contract length doesn't really make sense. But if you could have a world where, let's say, Patty's coming back by like week 14, 15, we tread water until then. Tyreek's also coming back off an injury too. Both this guy and this team, their stocks are both so low, and we've seen them both be at their top form when they're married to each other. So, I mean, yeah, if you could get these guys back in town together and then make a push late in the season, and then all of a sudden you got Tyreek and Patrick back, maybe not full form because they both had bad injuries, but close to full form. Come playoff time, then the Chiefs, getting a wild card, all of a sudden they're a sneaky team and probably a Super Bowl favorite at that point too. So, I mean, it does make sense. I wonder if Tyreek's going to chase a bag again, though, because someone else is going to have more money to shell out versus
He's got
KC.
some kids to pay for, too.
Yeah, and KC's got, I think they're like second or third to last in cap of all the NFL. But if you can get them back, obviously restructure some deals, get them back on a team-friendly deal, it makes complete sense.
Well, Mahomes should be back sooner than that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're talking about him being back in like September.
Yeah, but both
you're right though. If he's out till week 16, it doesn't make sense.
But both of these, the player and team, they both need each other. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, the next one, Las Vegas Raiders.
Raiders with Tyreek.
I really like it. To me, it's a lot like the Pickens thing. Except there's virtually no downside. Like, what's the downside? You cut a 1-year, $9 million player and you eat nothing in guaranteed money. Like, I mean, and now the upside is not as high as Pickens. Obviously, you're not looking at, like, a guy who can be your number one receiver for the next 3 years and build with Bowers, Mendoza, and Genty. But, I mean, for 1-2 year shot in the dark and, like, just go get Mendoza, a guy to throw the ball to and help him develop, I think it's perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's not a long-term marriage, but for a 1-2 year rental to help your young quarterback and help this team get off the ground, I see virtually no downside and a ton of upside.
The question is like what is he going to command in the open market? Like
he's not getting more than 1 year. I doubt it.
He could definitely get a 2-year deal.
I see him getting 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, when he played, he was still really good. I mean, he's coming off a bad injury, but he's not even 30 yet. Like, he could definitely get a 2-year deal.
He's like 31.
I mean, he's
bro. They cut him for a reason. They couldn't trade him.
Well, and also Miami like he doesn't fit there anymore. Like,
no, I know, but like they couldn't trade him. Like his value's in the tank.
They couldn't trade Bradley Chubb either. I mean, it's just because they're contracts. But now you're getting him with a no contract.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, I think, could command a 2-year, $40 million deal. I don't see why.
Like, he could probably get like a Cooper Kupp kind of deal.
But for Vegas, yeah, I like it for Vegas. You have the cap. It's low risk. And, I mean, I would love to see him just them have a guy take a top off the defense and open up the offense for Brock Bowers and Nash and Genty. I mean, they obviously need O-line help as well. But with no weapons at receiver at all, if they just roll into next season with their current crops at receiver, it's going to be the same show again. So, I mean, really just get some excitement in there. Get your number one guy, a Super Bowl champion. I like it for Vegas.
All right, next one, Baltimore Ravens. This one gets talked about a lot.
Baltimore Ravens with Tyreek. I don't know if I love it. I don't really know how I like the fit with him and Zay. Neither of them are like great, like between the chains guys. And I know Lamar's had a good deep ball in years, but can he maximize Tyreek? I don't really know how I feel about this fit.
I don't hate it, but I don't really love it. I mean, I think the Ravens need to get back to we're going to pound the rock and Lamar's going to run the ball. Now, maybe he can't because he hasn't really run the ball a whole lot in the last 2 years. I'm sure he still can to some degree. But, it feels like a really weird fit. It feels like two very different styles. The team style of play on offense versus Tyreek's style of play on offense could not be further apart. So could it work? Yeah, absolutely. And it could be awesome. It just doesn't feel like it would.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
But again, there's not a lot of downside, so I wouldn't hate it. Because, any contract he signs is going to have very little guarantees in it, so you can just move off of it if you need to. But it doesn't seem like a worthwhile fit.
Yeah,
to me.
I don't like the fit, and Baltimore had zero pass rush whatsoever. So if I'm Baltimore, yeah, like you said, I'm more looking of getting the O-line juiced up again and being able to run the ball and getting Lamar healthy, and then also bolstering the defensive line versus spending some money on a receiver coming off a bad injury that's really not a good fit with our passing attack. So, I'm not as high with Baltimore.
Yeah. I was going to say the Bills too, but we just talked about them with Pickens. It's literally the same thing. We go 49ers.
Oh, I love that. That sounds fun as hell. Because you're not going to have to pay him a ton, whether it's 2 years, $40 million, 2 years, $30 million, 1 year, $20 million. You're not going to be locked up long term to where you're going to be compromising your cap, and you maximize what you have left from this Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, McCaffrey, Kittle run that you're going on. Kittle's going to miss most of the season anyway. We know Ayuk's out of town, and Juwan Jennings is probably out of town as well. And this isn't a monster investment like the Ayuk contract was. I think this is a great fit, and Kyle Shanahan being one of the best offensive minds of the last 20 years in the NFL, the amount of ways he would use Tyreek to help this offense is almost unimaginable. I think this would be a super fun fit and a great fit for both teams.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I think we've never seen Kyle Shanahan with a receiver like this really ever. But then also at the same time, it's like before they got CMC, we're also saying we've never seen him with a guy like CMC, but we've seen what he can do with CMC as just like a chess piece to open up the offense. All of a sudden, you add another chess piece to the receiver room, and it could open up things for McCaffrey, and then you're going to need help with Kittle out for the year, and you're really going to need guys that could go up, get open in the middle of the field. And I think Tyreek, even coming off his injury, he'll be able to do that for this team. And like you said, it's low risk, it's high reward, so I would like it a lot for San Fran.
Yeah. And then my last one, I was going to do the Commanders, but I feel like we talked about them a lot earlier.
They got too many old receivers.
Yeah, they got too many. So the next one I'm going to do is the Carolina Panthers. Just squeaked into the playoffs. They could use a wide receiver too. He kind of would be a perfect complement to Tet. What do y'all think?
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Bryce Young can't throw a deep ball. Bryce Young just dekes and dunks. I think that'd be terrible. I feel like Tyreek also.
I think he'd ask out.
Yes, I think Tyreek halfway through the season would have like 350 yards, and he would get pissed, and he would throw a fit on social media.
Yeah.
And then talk about Bryce Young seems like a fragile guy too. I feel like he'd get his ego hurt real quick if he got Tyreek in there running his mouth. I would not touch him if I'm Carolina.
What about New England?
I like him with New England. Drake May loves the deep ball. You know another spicy one? Jacksonville. I know they've got a lot of receivers. I honestly think they might move off Brian Thomas this offseason, but regardless, he could be a really fun piece in Jacksonville. You're not paying really anything to your receivers outside of Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, but Parker Washington took big leaps last year.
He did.
If they keep the receiver room, they'll have Jacoby, Parker, and BTJ.
And they're going to have Travis Hunter for trick plays and stuff. I think they just got to stick with what they got.
if they keep their
if they move off Brian Thomas, I think that'd be really fun because I think Liam Cohen would use him in all sorts of ways, and Trevor Lawrence loves to chuck that ball deep.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a really fun spot. Probably doesn't make the most practical sense, but I think it'd be fun. All right. Let's get into the big one of the day. Joe Burrow. All right. Let's focus on more of the team. If y'all think I'm off on like the compensation scale, just let me know and I'll alter it because I want to focus more on the fit, who gets moved, and the implications it has for the league. Because obviously, if Joe Burrow gets traded, like we're moving serious power in the league. This isn't Tyreek Hill, who's getting waived, or even George Pickens, who's a fine player. This is one of the best football players in the world who can completely change an organization. Okay. First trade. Cincinnati is calling Houston. Houston is going to send C.J. Stroud and 3 first-round picks to the Bengals, and they're going all in on Joe Burrow with this defense, with D'Amico Ryans, with Nico Collins, Tank Dell coming back, and the 2 young receivers.
I think they have to give up more.
I do, no. 3 first-round picks and C.J. Stroud?
That's a ton.
I think they got to give up like another decent player. Like a defensive player.
I don't think so.
Houston does it then at that point.
Yeah,
I don't even know if Houston does this.
Yeah, I don't even know if Houston. I think if you're Cincy and 3 first-round picks and C.J. Stroud, who could still be your franchise guy, I think if I'm Cincy, I'm saying, all right, sorry, Joe, we love you, but we're gonna move off. But I mean, the thing is, if I'm Houston, though, that's so much draft capital. And C.J. Stroud obviously shit his pants in the playoffs, yes. But Joe Burrow, it's like if he's going to Houston, the offense still isn't great. The offensive line's not that good. He's probably not getting away, from the sacks that he was getting with Cincy. I mean, Houston's offensive line, like I said, wasn't that good. And although like this would be fun and it would be a fun change of scenery, I guess. If I'm Houston, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to roll the dice on CJ again and see what we have. Well, also, I'm not going to give up our next 3 first-round picks because that's, insane value. And then
I'm
if
doing
you're
that in
Houston,
a heartbeat if I'm Houston.
If you're Houston and you trade for Joe Burrow and the defense takes one little step down and then Joe Burrow's getting sacked, 80 times again, Nico Collins is getting hurt, the offense isn't looking that great. Because if the Houston O-line, the offense is all beat up and hurt again. Not CJ Stroud. Joe Burrow, I don't think is going to win the Super Bowl with them either, even how great their defense is. And all of a sudden, this could be a move to where Houston, it doesn't work out after a year or two, and then your picks are all gone. I could see this blowing up in our face and being a disaster. The defense is so good and so young, I'd rather just hold on to CJ for one more year because it's not, although he had a terrible playoff performance, this guy's been really good his first few years in the league, although he's faltered here. I think it's too rich.
Yeah,
if I'm Cincy, though, I'm pulling the trigger.
I would do this in a heartbeat if I was Houston. They would instantly be the favorites in the AFC, maybe the entire NFL.
You really hate C.J. Stroud.
I really like Joe Burrow too. Well, dude, he was their Achilles heel the whole season. I mean, he was the only thing holding them back. I mean, you could say the O-line, but they put up a lot of investments into the O-line, and it played better than the year before. It's just C.J. regressed. I mean, he had fine weapons at every position, too.
I think, like you said, Cole, like you talked about it could blow up. But if this isn't like in the NBA, you have to do like your first round picks. If you trade multiple, you've got to space them out. Like NFL, you can go back to back to back. While if it blows up year 1, you're totally screwed. But if it works, you just have to survive 3 years. And if it works, they're going to be fucking fantastic.
But you also
then you get all your picks back.
Yeah, but you've
got the defense. You've got now your star quarterback. You've got good enough weapons. You just invested 2 top 3-round picks into receivers last year. You've got Nico. You've got Tank Dell coming back from injury. You've got Woody Marks. All you would have to do, you'd make this trade, and then you got to do something to beef up the O-line. Whether every pick you have left, you draft offensive linemen, you go sign a couple in free agency with whatever money you have. If you weather the storm and he doesn't get hurt, you're looking at what the Rams are, and the Rams survived the Stafford trade and are now maybe have a better team than they did. So it can go both ways.
But the Rams also survived it because they nail their draft picks, and they've been drafting great with Les Snead. And I don't know. It's just like we've seen
Texans have been drafting pretty good.
Joe's awesome, but also too you got to think of capital implications. Like with CJ, you still got him on a rookie deal,
only for one more year.
I know, but I'm saying this defense is also. I know, but I'm saying you can at least see it out with CJ to where if he sucks this year, then you can move off. But if you sign Joe too, all of a sudden you're going to have Will Anderson coming up soon. You're going to have Stingley coming up
But
soon.
then-
There's a lot of guys you got to pay.
But
in
it's
the
not.
offense.
It's not just okay. CJ sucks, and then you just move on. Then you're fucked because then you don't have any answer at all at quarterback, and then you're going to waste at least your next 3 first-round picks worth of capital on getting another quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't know if this Houston offense, even if Joe Burrow joins the team, is ready to go win the Super Bowl, even with how great their defense is, because their offensive line's terrible. They have no running backs, and outside of Nico Collins, they really don't have any pass catchers. So
I mean, Joe Burrow made the Super Bowl with a shittier O line.
I think
the
they're
Texans
ready to win
have.
the Super Bowl. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow. I mean, they probably should have been in the Super Bowl this year if CJ Stroud doesn't play the worst game of his life.
It's I don't know. It's
risky,
it's a lot
sure.
to trade. And I'm just saying, if a year or two goes by, if this trade goes through, and Joe's getting sacked all the time, and he gets hurt, and wild card flunk out, all of a sudden Houston no picks, paying Burrow top tier money, defenders coming up for deals. It's super ballsy. It would be awesome. It'd be fun.
I mean, I could even say that though. I could say, okay, trade doesn't happen. CJ Stroud gets hurt. They're fucked. They have Davis Mills running. Like that's.
Yeah, but you still have all of your draft picks for the next 3 years, and you can move off CJ and you can draft a quarterback and then build it up from there. Like it's going. I would
just
all
rather
in.
bank on Joe coming back. From injury.
I would love the deal. I just think 3 first-round picks plus CJ Stroud is serious capital.
Well, that's also why I said.
What could you get for CJ Stroud straight up right now?
so
I think a team would still give you a first-round pick for CJ Stroud.
So what do you?
I think you're like way too low on CJ. I know he was
Yeah, you
bad,
definitely
but like he's
he's
still
going to be a starter for like.
he
10
still
years.
showed so
Yeah,
much promise
he's
in these
fine.
first few years.
I mean, we were talking about CJ Stroud as a top 5 quarterback as a rookie. Like,
Yeah.
he's regressed a little bit. We'll see if he figures it out. But like, I think he's gonna be fine. Would it make you feel more comfortable, Cole, if it was Stroud in like 2 firsts and a second?
Yeah, probably. Because
Because I want to focus more on the team aspects of it than like the teams could work out the draft compensation. I just put
Yeah.
these in there as what I would imagine they are. But like, if it's 2 firsts and a third and Stroud, like, if that works better for you,
yeah,
like,
I think if you could do that,
I don't
then
think the
sure,
Bengals are doing it unless they're getting the whole world for Burrow because they still have to eat
don't know,
money
man.
and the
the guy's hurt every.
I mean,
other
in
year,
my
and
mind,
he's,
I'm looking.
like,
I'm looking at the Goff Stafford deal, and I believe that was Stafford and 2 first-round picks.
And
but
more.
and
more.
that wasn't more. But at that point
Yeah.
too, like Goff was. We knew what Goff was. I think CJ still has. He definitely still has upside. The guy's still 24. So like, there's still that potential. But then Stafford was also older too, getting traded. Wasn't in the thick of his prime like Joe is right now.
But he didn't have the injuries that Joe had. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's what I'm saying too. If
Yeah.
he goes back there and he's getting sacked 7 times in a game, and all of a sudden he's getting hurt. All of a sudden, what's he going to say when his O line can't hold up? We've seen what he said in Cincy. He's not having fun playing football. And if the O line can't hold up and his Nico gets hurt, he's got no weapons. I mean, I don't care how good the defense is. You're not going to win the Super Bowl.
All right, let's go to the next team. You all know this one's coming. Minnesota. Old J.J. McCarthy. He's going to the Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to Minnesota to pair up with KOC and his teammate, Jettas. Vikings are sending McCarthy 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. They're trading basically the entire farm
Yeah,
for Joe Burrow.
I like this one more because I think my reason with Houston is that they're young and they got such a good team and it as a dire state to win right now. I think Minnesota, though, the defense was top 10 last year and it's old and you got Brian Flores, but this team's ready to win right fucking now. And this one reminds me more of the Rams getting Stafford type of move because you can then pair Joe with KOC, whose best quarterback's Kirk Cousins, and the team was great then. If you give him a Joe Burrow type quarterback with his former guy in Jettas and Addison in the run game, and this is a team ready to win right now. I think this move would be dynamite for Minnesota, and for Cincy, it's like your JJ McCarthy sucks, but you're getting back a shitload of draft capital. You're tearing the studs down and figuring out. I like this for Joe way more than Houston.
The other thing I think this move does if you're Cincy is you're going to eventually trade Jamar. Jamar is not going to sit there for 3 years. So,
No.
like, not only are you going to get 3 firsts and 2 seconds for Burrow, you're also going to eventually, probably in a year, get 2 firsts.
Yeah, but we all know Cincy probably needs to do this, and they probably they need to tear
they
it all
probably
down.
need to do it.
like, but their it's all their front office's fault. Their front office are jackasses.
I think
so.
it'd be perfect too because you're pairing Burrow back up with Jettas, which is obviously a great combo to have. Keep him with one of his LSU boys, but yeah, I like this one too. I mean, I don't think the team would be as good as the Texans, but their offense is more well-rounded. They just need a running back, and then their defense is good. It's just older, and it's not as good as the Texans. But
no, it's not. But oh my God, I'd be KOC with Burrow. He's never had a quarterback near that. That would be nuts.
Addison, Hawkinson, it'd be a blast. All right, this one's spicy. Howie Roseman's picking up the phone.
Oh wow,
and he's calling Cincy. He's sending Jalen Hurts, 1 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks for
the
Joe Burrow.
Bengals would not do this.
Jalen Hurts, 1 first and 2 seconds.
Because, I mean, they don't.
Or we can do 2 firsts and 1 second.
Whatever
y'all are comfortable
I
with.
think they have no value to take Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts is no value to them.
Let's do this. Jalen Hurts, 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick.
It's still
basically they're like the same age-ish. I think Hurts is like a year or 2 older.
The thing I'd be scared about if this happened, like obviously on paper, right? It's like, okay, we got the Philly line, we have the weapons, and we have Joe Burrow. But Nick Sirianni can't even figure out an offense with a quarterback that he's had his whole tenure in Philly. He should ideally, be able to draw something up with Joe that would look great. But and Philly, Philly made this move. They're the favorites, no doubt about it. Like on paper, it's crazy. But can Nick Sirianni capitalize on it? And there's also not a lot of stability in there. Like, are you going to hold on to A.J. Brown if you do this? Philly also, they're going to have a lot of guys to pay soon. They've drafted well. But, yeah, oh, God. But Philly loves Hurts, too, and, like, he won him a Super Bowl. But this feels like an aggressive move that if you're Howie Roseman, you should make, because if Joe Burrow does stay healthy, this team's winning the Super Bowl.
This is such an Eagles move.
Yeah,
no other team would do this except Howie Roseman because he's just a psychopath.
Yeah, but if you're Philly and you do this move, you should win. I'm not saying you will, but you should win the Super Bowl.
The other underlying thing about this is I was looking at stuff on this. Philly is doing what the Saints were doing with Breeze right now, where they're they're backloading their contracts and they're pushing this money. They have a dead year coming. I think it's 2028, where they're going to be completely underwater. Yeah. Like they're going to have to sell off a ton of players. Like they're going to have to take a gap year. So, I think it's 2028 or 29. But
so if you do this,
all those bills are going to start coming due.
And all their players on rookie deals.
You've got
and all
a
that.
2-year window right now, and then you go gap year, and then you're back to trying to compete again. So, like, I think if you make this move, you're like, screw it. Like, the next 2 seasons, we're going to be great anyway, so our first-round picks aren't going to be very good. And then after that, we make sure we keep that 2028 pick, because that's year we're probably going to suck, because we're going to lose a lot of these guys, and then we rebuild after that with Burrow.
Yeah, and you still have Burrow. Yeah, this move, I don't think would happen ever, but oh my God, as a Cowboy fan, I would be shitting my pants.
It'd be horrifying.
Oh, no, that'd be terrible.
It would be horrifying. But for Philly, yeah, obviously, if you can pull this off, you got to do it.
Would you do it if you're the Bengals?
No, I'd rather just go get draft compensation because, Jalen Hurts, the offense could be fun if you get Jalen Hurts.
I would
but
not do it if I was the
the team's not going to be good. If Joe can't even make the playoffs, like Jalen Hurts, especially like with Jamar and T, Jalen Hurts isn't going to maximize those guys.
No.
Jalen Hurts can... he has to have a running game to be successful. And him and Chase Brown and the weapons, yeah, sure, on paper, fantasy-wise, would probably be fun. But for Cincy, I'd much rather go get like the 3 1s and the 2 2s versus getting Hurts in a couple picks. So if I'm Cincy, I'm like, and it would suck as a Bengal fan to see Joe go to a team like Philly and then maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I don't, and they would just. Jalen would be like no value to them because they would just be a much worse team with him.
I could see the Cincy ownership though. Doing this
themselves.
Yes, because they just want to maintain.
He's a winner.
Yes, well, and because they just like since he's a team that they're like screw the picks, let's just maintain relevancy and win 8 or 9 games. So I think it could happen. But
all right, next one. There's a new sheriff in town here. They've got a young quarterback who did pretty well last year. Some people really like him, but the New York Football Giants are picking up the phone. And they're calling the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're going to offer Jackson Dart and 2 first-round picks for Joe Burrow. This team is low-key decent. They've got an awesome D-line. You've got neighbors. If you re-sign Wandell, you've got a good back in Scadaboo. You've been putting assets into this offensive line. I think this team is ready to kind of pop. If you put Burrow in this system with John Harbaugh, I think they could be really good. Now,
They still have a lot of holes.
does either side say no? Do they both say no? What happens?
I don't like this deal at all. I mean, yeah, New York's front seven on paper is really good. Their defense altogether, though, just hasn't performed that well.
Their secondary's bad.
And, I mean, Wandell's going to be a free agent. Malik's coming off an ACL. Scadaboo, fun guy, say what you want, but, I mean, I don't really know how much he moves the needle. And their offensive line, although they have invested crazy assets, it's still not very good. And, again, I kind of just see this. It's like it reminds me of just Joe and Cincy with a little better front seven. Like
a much better defense.
I
think it's a much better defense.
It's better, but I mean, their secondary and linebacking corps are terrible. And like Thibodeau's is nothing at this point. They got Burns and Dexter and Abdul, but I mean,
they got a couple studs, but it would be a weird situation. It wouldn't really work. It'd be like,
well, you're also trading the what? What pick do they have?
Yeah,
the
'cause
3
you also-
pick?
What pick do they have?
they have
They
like
have the 7 or the 6.
the fifth pick. I out of
Oh,
all
yeah, they're
these,
fifth.
I think Joe to Minnesota makes the most sense.
Yeah,
for
Minnesota
both
and then
sides.
Texans. Yeah,
I think that would make the most sense
because
Okay.
it just makes sense for him to go to a stack team.
All right. I've got at least one more for you. We'll see if we want to keep going after this one, but I do want to do this one. There's been some weird stuff going on with Sean Payton and Bo Nix since the have you seen that?
No.
He came
I
out.
saw it.
He came out and was like, "Oh, he hurt his ankle or like he had surgery on his ankle." And Bo Nix then immediately called a press conference like, "Sean Payton doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't know why he's talking about my body or like my injuries." There's some weird stuff going on there. Sean Payton picks up the phone and he calls the Cincinnati Bengals. He wants Burrow and Jamar Chase for Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, 3 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. The Broncos go all in on Sean Payton, the defense, and they bring in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They have the cap to do it. Bengals get Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, 3 firsts, and 2 seconds.
That would be
the
great.
biggest trade in history.
Yeah,
right?
that would be great for the Broncos. You're literally getting the best QB wide receiver duo in the league.
To pair with the best defense.
Yeah, I mean that would be
Not
kinda,
the best. One of the best, not the best.
That'd be up there top 3 with the Texans and Vikings, but
I
just don't know. I feel like the Bengals could get more value than that for both of them. So
I mean,
it wouldn't
Bo
make
Nix
sense.
is worth a lot.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think the value's fair. That this trade's hard to digest. There's so much going on. Like, I mean, for Denver, like obviously on paper, again, you're probably super excited. You get Joe and Jamar, but you also
got a
risk
great O-line.
You risk the future though
How
too.
do you
I mean,
afford them?
Yeah, I don't know how you afford them. You're gonna have a lot of guys coming up for deals soon. And again, this is kind of like the Houston thing. I don't think Denver's really in a situation to where they need to make this move. Bo Nix, although he didn't look good at times, late in the season he looked great. In the playoff game he looked great, and you still have him on a rookie deal. So I think if I'm Denver, I'm just going to hang up the phone. I think if I'm a Bronco fan, I feel confident in Bo Nix and the whole team around him, and I'd rather go make some moves elsewhere. This is scary. Like, if you don't win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, if you're Denver, it's a complete fail. I don't care if you make the Super Bowl. If you lose in the next year or two, it's a
just try to
fail.
get a receiver first.
It's a
before
fail,
you,
yeah.
before you get both.
And
yeah.
especially, I mean, Joe Burrow, I know he's not as old, but I mean, the guy's had really bad injury problems. I think both say no. This is too big to happen. Like, this can't happen.
Too crazy.
Yeah, this can't happen.
Y'all are short-sighted. All right.
It's too much to digest.
All right.
Like,
Well, then we'll do one more. Shane Steichen and the Indianapolis Colts are calling Cincinnati. They're offering Daniel Jones 3 first-round picks. Oh, do they even have 3 first-round
don't-
picks
they
to trade?
don't.
Well, they have 2 after the draft. So they'd have to do some contingency deal. But let's say they trade. So they can do 3 first-round pick. No. Can they? No, they can do 2. Okay. They trade 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and Daniel Jones for Joe Burrow.
Daniel Jones is a free agent, but
Franchise tag him and trade him.
sign and
Sign
trade
and
type
trade.
of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
Did
I'm
Danny Dimes do that though? He has no reason.
He has no choice. They franchise him.
Yeah, I mean,
franchise.
If I'm
tag.
Cincy again, I like this more. Daniel Jones, whatever, stopgap quarterback. We're getting a shitload of draft compensation. If you're Indy, you might as well. You already traded your picks for Sauce. You're in a weaker AFC now. You can get Joe Burrow with a real running game, a real offensive line, and get some real weapons and pair him with Steichen, who's a really good offensive-minded head coach. But I still don't know if Indy's good enough in the Super Bowl, even if they got Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
The defense isn't elite by any means. The offense would be electric, but then again, if you do this deal, you're definitely not picking up Michael Pierce, and it's Warren, Downs, and Pittman. You got good weapons. The offense should be able to hang, but I still don't know if this. I mean, you think it could get them over the top, but
you got a better roster than Buffalo.
I mean, yeah, you do.
Baltimore.
But if you don't win in the next year or two, if you're Indy, you don't have your next 5 or 6 first-round picks and then 3 seconds. So I don't you can't do this if you're Indy. You already traded the picks. You can't build the team in the future at all if you're Indy, and this team's not good enough to do that right now. So
okay, all right, y'all want to tier some running backs?
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right, boys, let's tier out some running back prospects from the last 10, 15 seasons. We've got a 2000s quarterback-themed tier list today. Y'all ready?
Let's go.
Mixing it up.
Your first tier name, tier 1, the GOAT, Tom Brady. Your second tier, Peyton Manning, the guy that was right there but just couldn't get the number 1 spot. Tier 3, awesome quarterback, never got over the hump, though, Phillip Rivers. Your fourth tier, pretty mediocre, but he can have his games where he's the best quarterback in the world. Eli Manning's your fourth tier. And your fifth tiered name, Jay Cutler.
Let's get it.
All right.
Jay Cutler.
So just based as a running back prospect, where are we going to tier Ashton Genty from the 2025 NFL Draft?
He should be one of the top 2. Probably Manning.
He could be Rivers.
He's Manning or Brady.
I don't
Because
think
the only one above him is Bijan.
I think Saquon's one. If I
Saquon.
had to think about all these. I think he's Manning, though. He still went 6th last year. He was looked at as a generational prospect. The thing, too, is if Genty was getting drafted in 2009, he probably gone top 3. He still went 6th in 2025. But I think for this list, I'm assuming we're gonna get Saquon. I personally think Saquon's the best in the last.
I think
10,
it's
15
Saquon
as a
and
prospect.
Bijan. Yeah.
So yeah, I like Genty in the Manning tier.
Me too.
Okay, your second running back prospect, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Now Gibbs went 12th. He was definitely looked at as a reach though, where they picked him.
He was.
I think he's like Rivers.
I was thinking Eli or Cutler, honestly.
Oh, really?
I think the thing is Jahmyr Gibbs, going into that draft, a lot of people had him as a late first round grade. Detroit, it was a great pick in hindsight, but as a pure prospect, Bijan was obviously the clear one guy over him in that draft class, and he really wasn't even supposed to go top 12.
I'd go Manning, Eli.
Yeah, I think Eli's good for him.
Okay. Your next prospect, Bijan Robinson.
I think we got to go Brady. We knew the year before he was out, he was going to be a top 10 pick. He's just a monster.
I want to leave one guy for that, though. I feel like that's the GOAT tier. In my mind, I just want one player in there. And in my mind, as a pure prospect, Saquon went 2, absolute stud, could do everything. I think unless you want to have multiple guys in the top tier.
I would just put those 2 in the top tier, I think.
But I think there's a real. I think Genty, Bijan. There's a real argument of who was the better prospect. We got to remember Genty, the sole engine behind Boise State, could do everything. Can't miss home run prospect. And I know all these guys we're gonna get are probably can't miss home run prospects, but I think we got to make some tough calls here. But if you want to put him in Brady, I'm fine with it too. But I'm just saying right now, I don't want to have 3 or 4.
I think
guys
he was
in the top
clearly
tier.
better than Genty as a prospect.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
We can just put him in Manning.
Okay, your next one, the stud himself, Najee Harris.
That's Cutler.
He could be Eli.
He was the 20th pick.
Yeah,
like
like
that? 22nd
mid,
pick?
mid, late first-ish.
But like he was nothing special at Bama. He was just on a stacked Bama team.
pretty
He
good.
was a monster.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was great. He was
Won
a first round
national
pick, but like
championships.
he was on a stacked team. He wasn't the greatest player on that offense.
He was a Heisman
Yeah,
finalist, I think.
he was the engine of the offense.
Didn't they have Devontae Smith on that offense and Jalen Waddle and Tua and
They
Hurts?
did, but he
I
was
mean,
a stud.
he went 20th still in the draft. I mean,
Yeah, we'll put him at Cutler. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if Najee was a prospect in 2026, I don't even know if he would be a first-round pick.
Exactly.
They evaluate these guys a little differently now. Still a great prospect, but for this list, yeah.
yeah, it's just for this list. We're comparing him to Gibbs. I mean,
All right, your next one, another Bama back, Josh Jacobs. He was a late 20s pick too.
Yeah, I
and
think
he did not get a ton of playing time.
he
at
was a
Alabama.
better prospect than Najee.
No, he was not.
I
don't
think
know
he
about
was.
actually. I don't know about
Yeah,
prospect.
I think he was.
college player. Najee was definitely a better college
I
player.
think we might have fucked this up. Because I really think his prospect, like I think Najee as a prospect was a higher prospect than Gibbs.
I do too.
Honestly,
I don't think he was.
Where did y'all put Gibbs?
an Eli tier.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Detroit didn't think he was. The league did though.
Jacobs was late. Jacobs was like
yeah,
a
well,
late
I think we
20s.
already put Harrison in the Cutler tier. We got to put Jacobs there as well. He went later than him.
They were pretty
And
similar, so I'm fine with that.
He wasn't even as dominant as Najee at Bama.
All right, your next back, RB1 from this upcoming 2026 class, Jeremiah Love.
All right,
Yeah.
where are we going,
I,
Love?
I think he's Rivers. I think
I think it fits perfect really there.
yeah, like Ginty and Bijan, you could say he's right there with them. But I think the thing is, like, if we had 3 or 4 elite quarterbacks in this draft, Jeremiah Love might fall outside the top 12 or 13. So even although he is a great prospect, and even maybe comparable to Ginty or Bijan, I think we put him in Rivers. Just
yeah, because he was clearly above Gibbs in my opinion, and clearly below Ginty and Bijan.
Yes, I like him in the Rivers tier.
Yeah.
Okay, your next one, Saquon Barkley.
Throw him at the top.
He's in Brady. Yep.
Agreed. Okay. How about CMC out of Stanford? Heisman finalist.
I
But
feel like he's really close to Love.
Yeah, I think he's Rivers. I think he's perfect there.
Yeah.
I think Leonard Fournette even went before him, and like CMC coming out of college too. Like we knew he was a badass receiver, but there were real questions if he could be, a 3-down workhorse from between the tackles for you. So
100%.
I think he's perfect in Rivers. Still
Yep.
a top 8 guy.
Yep. Okay. Your next one, Lenny Fournette from LSU.
I just throw him in that tier as well. I mean, he was a top pick, but
Dude, I don't know. As a pure prospect,
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette. I mean, a lot of people had him as the number 1 player in that whole entire draft class.
He
Like,
was supposed to be like.
I think we did too. Even I'm cool putting him in Manning.
yeah,
with GT.
I am too. He was clearly ahead of CMC and probably Love too. So I think that's. I think he's right there with the Ginty Bijan as pure prospects. Obviously, he didn't pan out for old Lenny like we thought.
God, he was probably the worst player on this whole list by far.
I mean, he was the number one. We were hearing about him when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I'm talking NFL player though.
No, I know. Well, I think Najee might have something to say about that. But
True.
all right, your next one, our man, Ezekiel Elliott, 4th overall to the Cowboys out of Ohio State.
This Manning group is getting crowded, but
Yeah,
I
I
kind of
know.
like him there. Because I mean, he was better than Love. Like we knew he was going top 8, top 7, top 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
We got him at 4. Absolute monster at Ohio State.
he was special
3
his
down
first
back.
couple of years as a Cowboy. I think I'd put him in Manning category.
Yeah, I think we got to.
because we were. I mean,
Yep.
at the time,
He
We-
he belongs there.
Yeah.
and I just wrote Manning in the Manning category. Yeah, like we thought he was almost comparable to Saquon at one time.
Mhm.
So
All right, your next one, the King, Derrick Henry out of Alabama.
He's in the Cutler tier.
yeah, he wasn't
Yep.
even a first round pick.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he's might be the best on this list in the NFL, but as a pure prospect, he's the only guy that didn't go in the first round. And I mean, there were questions if he would actually work in the NFL. He
Yeah,
clearly has, but
I
as
mean,
a pure prospect, he's Cutler.
He won Alabama He won Bama that Heisman, and he won them a Natty that year. But yeah, the game. The analytics hadn't caught up with him yet. He was. We did not know he was going to be this good.
Took him like a year and a half to pop. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a backup for the first year.
That's
and a
true.
half
Yeah,
of
he
his
backed
career.
up DeMarco Murray his first year too.
All right, your last one, arguably the highest peak
of anyone on this list. Todd Gurley.
I think he belongs in the Rivers tier. He kind of went in the teens in the draft. If it weren't for his injuries, he might be in the Manning tier, but I think because of that, he fits perfectly with Love and McCaffrey.
Yeah, I like him there. I think if anything from this list I would change, I would put Jameer in the Cutler, and I would probably bump up Harrison Jacobs, if anything. But beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
Remember, Jahmyr Gibbs was he was an insane reach when they picked him at 12.
I also like him there because
there was a lot of people talking about him, though.
Yeah, there was a lot, and I kind of like him right there because he was kind of a different prospect than the rest of these guys. Like, I think he almost compares mostly to McCaffrey because they were both insane receiving backs coming out, and Gibbs just didn't pop a ton at Bama, and then he went to Tennessee and was going crazy. Or where'd he go? No, Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah. Georgia Tech.
And then Bama, yeah, but I mean...
I like how we have all the fucking Bama backs at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of them went high.
All right, and then we got our last segment of the day. We got some floor and ceilings. Y'all ready to get into it?
Let's go, baby.
All right, so we have ESPN's prospects 11 through 20. We did the top 10 floor and ceilings last week. I'm going to start us off here with Mr. Carnell Tate. Now, Carnell Tate, Ohio State, stud receiver. Probably not the best on his team last year, but still an insane prospect. Long-limbed. He stands at 6'3", 190 pounds. He's a great downfield threat. He's got great ball skills, great body control, great hands, great route runner. This guy's catch radius is insane. He's an ideal guy. Between the 20s, you want to target a great boundary receiver. Could also be a great red zone guy with his size. Really the only concerns with him, he's got a little bit of a slow start-off speed, and he's not a great yak guy. He's not one of these smaller, kind of shifty, running back prototypes like we see with some of these guys, but he's an ideal size, but he can be limited with his speed and then yak. For his ceiling, now before I say ceiling, just hear me on this. I got him as a prime Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey, his second year with Chicago, almost 1,500 yards, looked like he was going to be a top 5 guy for the duration of his career. Buddy, though, ended up going to Philly, eating a little too many biscuits, got a little bit of a beer gut on him, slowed down a little bit. But they're both the same exact size. They both had the same 40s coming out of college. They both had limited bursts, but as like a red zone guy, a deep ball guy, just a go up and get me a catch in tight coverage. They both kind of fit that same exact bill. They're both good route runners. They both can get open and have really good body control and can go high point of football with the best of them. And for his floor, I have him as a Jawan Jennings. Probably a guy for his floor. He'll be a safe, probably decent number 2 just because he's so skilled. But again, kind of a bigger receiver, high IQ, but kind of just could potentially be limited by his athleticism. And that's why I have him as a floor of Jawan Jennings.
I like that. I really like the Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, me too.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I looked at so a lot of people had him as George Pickens as his ceiling. I just
He's
don't.
not as athletic.
No,
yeah.
George Pickens is so good yak and can bully defenders and stiff arm and make running back moves. I just don't know if this guy will ever have that kind of pop like he did. But Alshon though didn't really have a pop in that regard. He had a pop with his hands and then being able to go get that deep ball and then go get open, which is why I like that comp a lot there.
Yeah. Our next guy had Keldrick Falk. This guy is a defensive end from Auburn, 6'6", 285 pounds. He'll be 21 in September when the season starts. He was a 4-star in the class of 2023. His best season was his sophomore season. He had 45 tackles, 11 tackle for loss, 7 sacks. And then last year he only had 2 sacks and 5 tackle for loss, which was not impressive. But, this guy's basically, you're betting on potential. He's a big project. He'll take a ton of development and coaching because at the current state, he has a lot to work on. His first round hype is literally just based because he's such a young age and he's just so athletic. But he doesn't have much pass rush moves, even though he has crazy long arms, crazy strong arms. He just kind of attacks you, just bull rushes you, and doesn't really have much maneuvers outside of that. He is good against the run. He can line up on inside or outside against the run. He can still rush against the interior, but he gets pushed around a little bit more. This is kind of a guy you're hoping that he can just develop some technique and become a chess piece on that D-line and just play all over. For my ceiling for him, I have him as a Carlos Dunlap, someone that did exactly that. Bengals put him all over the D-line, just inside, outside, can defend the run. He's going to get you some sacks, not probably more than like 10 a year, but still get you some sacks. And then his floor, literally what I think he's going to be is like a Tyree Wilson or like a Marcus Davenport, a guy you're literally just betting on projection and young age and just not getting – I mean, it hasn't really popped on the field too much. And so I just I don't see it happening. He was an SEC All-Freshman, though, 3 years ago.
Yeah, this guy scares me. Like,
same.
He is so freaking raw. He kind of gives me Taco Charlton vibes a little bit.
Shimon Stewart vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He he had 10 sacks in 3 years, not like 4 like Shamar Stewart at least, though.
I mean, still 10 in 3 years is pretty bad.
Yeah, as an edge.
It's not great. Yeah. All right, next prospect, Kenyon Sadek, the clear-cut tight end.
Mike McCarthy over here. Sadiq,
is that it?
Kenyon Sadiq,
the clear-cut number 1 prospect at the tight end position out of Oregon. Comes in at 6'3", 245. He's projected to run about a 4.6 40. He's fantastic against man coverage. He's super athletic. He's great after the catch. But he's kind of that stereotypical tight end build we're seeing more and more of now, the Darren Waller, the Colston Loveland, more of the receiving tight end. His weaknesses are blocking. His hand, he's had some issues with drops, but he's kind of that stereotypical outside receiver. However, he's a little smaller for those type of tight ends that play more in the slot and more off the line. For my ceiling, I went Vernon Davis. They're almost the exact same size, 6'3". Vernon Davis is 248. Again, he's super athletic, ran great routes, fantastic after the catch. Had issues with blocking, though. But if Kenyon can get to where he needs to go, he can be that type of player in the passing game that Vernon Davis was for so long in the NFL. Now, the floor, this is the flip side with these type of tight ends that are kind of more one-dimensional and more prevalent in the passing game. They have very low floors. And so I went Noah Fant. Almost the exact same size again, 6'4", 249. Noah Fant never panned out. He was never able to put it all together. He was too inconsistent. He had flashes in the passing game, but he was not consistent enough day in, day out, play in, play out to be a premier starting caliber tight end in the league for a long period of time. I think that's this guy's ceiling, and that's, I think, the style of play and his size of position. I think that's what it projects to on the low end side.
Yeah, I like the floor of Fant a lot. They have him compared to Fant on a lot of stuff I've read. Both super talented, raw, but like literally, this guy had 892 yards in 3 seasons.
Yeah, not much.
So yeah, I mean, just like Fant, super limited production. But at 14, we got Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. He stands at 6'3", 310 pounds. This guy is a badass athlete. He's super strong. He's awesome in the run game. He's kind of one of those, like big boy or a small guy in a big boy's body. He's super athletic. He's quick on his feet. He's got a lot of pop. He shows a lot of flash. Again, the only concerns with him is that in college, he didn't really show a super deep bag as a pass rushing D lineman. He bull rushed with his hands a lot and had some success doing it, but he didn't really show a lot of other moves, so there's obviously concerns if he'll be able to translate to the NFL level and develop that deeper bag and be a consistent impact, pass rusher at the defensive tackle position. But he's got great agility, super high IQ, a good motor, and he's just oozing with talent. He works best as a 3-tech, but he can fit pretty much anywhere along the D-line if you want him there. It just really depends on what kind of defensive scheme you're running. For his ceiling, I have him as a Jeffrey Simmons. Both similar prospects coming out of college. We knew they were going to be monsters in the run game, but kind of the pass rushing upside and moves were limited. Jeffrey Simmons was able to develop it and now be a guy that could be a bull on the inside, shut down the run, and get you 10 sacks a game. This guy really does have that type of talent, but for his floor, I have him as Devontae Wyatt. Green Bay took this guy in the first round a few years ago. They have the same exact size at 6'3", a little over 300. They're both former first-round pick, or probably going to be a first-round pick, but very talented guys, could be really good in the run game at the very least, but kind of like Wyatt, if this guy doesn't develop a deeper bag and a deeper pass rushing ability, he'll probably be more limited and be kind of more of a run-stopping D tackle. But if he does develop those moves at the next level, he could be legit all-pro defensive tackle. We're just waiting to see if he can do it.
Yeah, I think he could be a stud. All right, at 15, I got Mekhi Lemon. This guy is 5'11", 195 pounds. He will be 22 years old in June, so 22 for the season and I guess right after the draft. And he was also a 4-star in the class of 23, a All-American this past season. He's had the last 2 years, he put up over 1,200 all-purpose yards. And this past year, he actually had, how do I count this? I can't find his touchdowns. Well, that's worrisome. Whatever. Well, anyways, he pretty much does everything right for a slot wide receiver. A lot like his ceiling comparison, I'm going to say later. He runs good routes, creates separations, and then when he does that, he has strong hands to catch the ball and pluck it out of the air. He's not afraid to take hits, but he'll embrace contact. He likes to fight for extra yards. He'll go over the middle of the field. He'll go to the outside, but he actually excels going over the middle. Like, he'll catch that ball, and if he's not getting smacked right away, he is going to try to juke you out and get around you. Plays bigger than his size, and like I said, like once he has the ball, he's really smart, and he's kind of a technician after, like with his routes and after the catch. He's like a running back with the ball in his hands a little bit. I think he's really exciting. The only negatives he has is he only really projects as a slot wide receiver. He doesn't have the size to play outside, getting beat a lot in press man. His speed, it takes some time to build up. He lacks explosiveness at the line, which kind of tells, why he's getting beaten press man. But yeah, he's just not the fastest player, and he doesn't have the best acceleration until he gets going a little bit. But so for me, I have a ceiling as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he plays a ton like him, but I think he could have an impact like him or Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then his floor, I just put it as Curtis Samuel. He's the exact same size as all of these guys. Curtis Samuel is just one. I mean, he was a second-round pick, but, I mean, he just wasn't used like these other guys. He wasn't as great after the catch. He's had more injury problems than these guys throughout his career, but I mean, you got to give these guys a floor when they're not all going to be world beaters, right? But I mean, he should be a top 15 pick. I really like Mekhi a lot.
Next prospect, Mansour Delane, corner out of LSU. Comes in at 6 foot 190. He's got fantastic anticipation skills. His ball skills are elite. He jumps routes very well. He's also really good in the slot as a slot corner. He projects to be kind of a half outside corner, half slot corner, given his size. And he's really good with his hands, really good at the line, and really good on routes, and even tracking balls down the field as well. Going into that anticipation and ball skills, he's really good at all three levels of the defense, tracking balls, getting his hand on the ball, and potentially picking the ball off. He's projected to run about low 4.4s in that 4.42 range. Given that, I went Quinyon Mitchell as his ceiling comp. They're literally the exact same size. Both have very good ball skills. Mitchell's highly intelligent, which Delane projects to be in the NFL, and they're both fantastic in man coverage. If Delane hits his ceiling, he's going to be very similar to Keon Mitchell in the NFL. And then his floor, I went with a guy who just kind of developed strictly into a slot corner in Jordan Lewis. He wasn't able to put it together as an outside guy, and given his size and his skills and his skill set, I think he projects on the low end side to be more of a slot corner like Jordan Lewis was. Still a good player, but could never be consistent enough to play the outside corner against the big X wide receivers.
All right, at 17, we got Caleb Lomu out of Utah, tackle, standing at 6'6", 308 pounds. This guy's 21 years old. This guy, he's very raw. He's not a mauler in the run game. He can get bullied a little bit because, like I said, he's barely over 300 pounds, standing at 6'6". But when you talk about just like an athlete at tackle, that's this guy. He's a smooth operator. He's super athletic. He has really good feet and lateral quickness. He can match up against speed rushers very well and kind of mirror them and stay in front of them. And he's not super heavy-handed, but again, like I said, he's super technical. He's got really good fundamentals. And the only real downsides to him is right now, like I said, he's undersized. He doesn't have a great anchor. And at times in Utah, we saw him get bullied a little bit going against some power pass rushers. But this guy, again, if he's able to really just put on some weight and develop that frame and kind of take that next step physically, he should be a monster at the next level. And I got his ceiling as Tristan Wirfs. They're both elite movers. They're both good in the run game. They could be that true blindside guy. They're great athletes, and that's what this guy is. For his floor, I have him as Tyler Guyton. Dallas got him in the first round a few years ago. Both really good athletes, both similar size, a little bit skinnier for that tackle spot. But like Guyton and his floor, why comps do it, if he's not really able to develop physically, then he could have some real issues and some real problems at the next level. But this guy, again, like if he's able to take the next step physically, he should be a very good tackle in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. On the other side of the line, at 18, I have Akeem Mesidor from the University of Miami. This guy's 6'3", 265 pounds. He will be 25 years old when the draft comes around in April. It's pretty old. I mean, he's 3-star class of 2020, so that COVID class. I mean, this guy, he's old compared to the rest of the class, and that's easily his biggest flaw. He was first-team All-ACC this year. He was first-team freshman all back in 2020, back in 2020, not 2022 or anything. Yeah, he's been in college for 6 years. He missed a whole year in 2023. He played 3 games and then went out with an injury. And the last 2 years, he's been great for Miami. He had a decent year the year before last, but this past season he had 17.5 tackles for loss and 12.5 sacks with 4 forced fumbles. He was a game wrecker for them. He's athletic. He has a great use of his hands to get past linemen. He uses many different ways. He'll shift, he'll bull rush, bull rip, and he'll use his hands like crazy. He has a good bend as well and a nonstop motor. So, I mean, he'll rush interior, outside. It doesn't matter. He does excel more on the outside, though. This guy has a 21% pass rush win rate, which is, I think, the best in the entire class. But it shows, he's 25 years old. And that's his biggest negative, like I said. He'll be 25 when the draft takes place. He'll lack strength sometimes. He's not the best against the run, losing his balance sometimes, which is mainly when he's going inside against the run. But still a great player. But it's also like, is he winning just because he's older and he had time to build up that strength, or is he just naturally a weaker person than these NFL guys are going to be? And is he just playing down to younger competition and that's why he's excelling? That's something I can't really predict, but I think that's the biggest question for him. I see him going like early second round just because I don't think someone's going to try to give him the 5th-year option and have that as a 30-year-old. His ceiling for me is someone like Jonathan Grenard for the Vikings. Just puts up a lot of sacks every year. Can just stop the run on the outside, set the edge, but mainly just operates from the outside as an edge. And then his floor is someone else taken in the second round, same size. AJ Epinesa just hasn't really been effective for the Bills. He was a great college player, but just never really put 2 and 2 together in the NFL.
Our next guy, Caden McDonald.
Based on I do not like this guy. I don't know why they have him ranked so high.
Caden McDonald?
Yeah.
Why? He's a stud muffin. D tackle out of Ohio State, 6'3", 326 pounds. Immediately off first glance, he's undersized. He's clearly undersized to be a D tackle in the NFL. That said, he has great tackle for loss production, and he's fantastic in the run game. At least that's what he was in college, and that's how he projects to be in the NFL. He's also a great gap defender with very quick feet and really good change of direction, moving between tackles, so it makes him really good against a zone running scheme, which is what basically most of the NFL runs at this point. He can cover ground quickly in short distances and plug gaps as they develop in the run game. However, while he's good defending the run, he's not a very good pass rusher. He can slip through and make a couple or two big splash plays in the pass rushing game, but he's not a guy who's going to collapse the pocket consistently like some of the other premier pass rushing D tackles in the league, and he doesn't have as great of hand skills as some of the other really good D tackles in the NFL, which is partially why he's more of a run blocking D end than he is a pass rushing D tackle. For his ceiling, I went with his pro compass Kenny Clark. They're literally the exact same size, 3'6", 200 or
KC 9'5",
326 pounds. Both anchors in the running game. They can both still get to the passer somewhat, but their real dominance and value to the team is plugging up the run, plugging gaps, and being a stopgap in the middle of the defense for the entire linebacking core and the secondary. Now, his floor, a guy like this, undersized, doesn't really rush the passer, it's quite low. I've got it at Neville Gallimore, the old Cowboys tackle. He was undersized as well, and he was never big enough, and he didn't have enough power to really ever hold up in the run game at the NFL level. I think you could really see that with Caden McDonald. If his power doesn't translate how it did at Ohio State to the NFL, the league will make short work of him because he can't get to the pass, he can't get to the quarterback, and the stronger NFL offensive linemen are going to move him off his spot to where he's going to be a non-factor in the run game.
Yeah, I just didn't like him at 19 for this ranking because like he's primary nose tackle, 2 sacks, like this.
He doesn't get to the quarterback.
Yeah, and I just feel like if I'm drafting a guy in the middle of the first round, which is where his rank is, I want to draft a guy that at least has some real upside of being a pass rusher.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, last guy on this list, Jermod McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. Now, this guy missed all of 2025. He stands at 6 foot, 193 pounds. But this guy, while he did miss all of the year, if this guy played this year, he might be a guy that's going top 5, maybe top 7 or 8. He's got insane talent. He's elite in man press coverage. He's got great agility. He's super physical. He's one of those corners you could put on the outside and just absolutely blanket a wide receiver. He's that physically talented. And he's a great ball hawker, too. He's got good closing speed. He's good in the run game. He's willing to go through blocks, but he can get pushed around a little bit. Really, his ACL injury is the biggest question mark right now. He can get a little bit grabby, too, if he does get beat off the line of scrimmage. But for his ceiling, I got him as Sauce Gardner. He's a guy, if he projects out, recovers from his injury, all the talent in the world's there. He could be a guy that you put out on an island and say, go lock that man up, and he'll do a pretty damn good job of it. He's got all of the tools in the toolbox to make that happen. For his floor, I got it. Another former Cowboy, Mo Island, Morris Claiborne.
Ooh.
Another corner that went really high to Dallas back in the day. But it was his durability and injury problems that really derailed his career. We saw Morris Claiborne show flashes of being an elite press man corner, but the guy couldn't stay healthy. He couldn't really get it all together. And this guy, he does have a floor, and there is a chance in a world where, that does happen, and he just can't stay healthy. But the talent's all there. This guy is supposed to be a top 12 pick, so ESPN does have him kind of low here at 20, and so the ceiling might seem high, but he really is that damn good. And I would pick him one out of all the corners, and he's my number one cornerback in this draft. But, all right, we got any other notes on these prospects or anything else?
Don't think so.
All right, y'all heard it. That's PTA episode 7 in the books, baby.
Let's roll.
Let's go.